TGIF, thank God it's Friday here on Breakfast Central, your one-stop location for all things news and insightful discussions. I'm Benga Bora. A warm welcome to all our viewers across the world.
No doubt, Benga said it's TGIF is one-stop shop, but I can also add to that to say that it's a Friday that definitely will get you going, especially today. Well, it's the last Friday for the month of March, which simply means that a few days' time, we're just in April. And you do recall, Benga, that the federal government has said Monday and Tuesday is a public holiday. And there you, permit me to do that. What's that? You know, the former administration.
It's former Interior Minister.
Yes, whenever we see that, we know,
our profession is, I get jealous sometimes when there are public holidays because we work around the clock. We're essential services. But
are you talking about us or you?
Us, because we have to work. Even if it's Christmas, if it's any public holiday, we just have to show up. TV never sleeps. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
We have to make.
I agree. So what do you think they can do for us?
Just watch us. Support us as always.
I was thinking there was something else we could add. Anyway, welcome to Breakfast Central on a Friday morning. Joe Hansen, that's my name. And of course, Benga Borowa is also here. Let's start off with our wake-up conversations, as we would be looking forward to have a robust and very interesting conversation surrounding River State and the likes. But let's start off with a very sad note. Yes, on a very sad note. It's got to do with the story of a 25-year-old gentleman who committed death by suicide in Osun State over hardship. This is very, very sad, I must say, and it's something that we need to talk about. Most importantly, Benga, death by suicide in men is oftentimes not talked about. Benga, what's your take?
Yes, it's really, really sad. I went through the timeline of this gentleman on X. Apparently, he's been going through depression for the last 1 year. From his tweets, you could tell he's crying for help. Like, this is a cry for help, and nothing seems to have been done. There are times where he would think, I have the will. Even on his birthday, he said, wow, I'm still here. I thought I'll be gone by now, and things like that. These are telltale signs of someone who is not emotionally and psychologically well. And I wish those close to him would have intervened at one point or the other, because there's no substitute to life. Once it's gone, it's gone. Imagine the heartbreak. And there was one of these tweets where he said, the only reason why I'm still alive is because of my siblings. So it hurts those around you, but it's also mental health. It also highlights the reason why we need to pay attention to mental health. And people on social media should please be kind. If you don't have anything nice to say, just shut up. It's as simple as that. I saw tweets of people saying, okay, when you're ready, because there was a picture he posted. He was wearing headphones. Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's the picture. And you could read one of the comments saying, please, when you just leave your headphones for me. I mean, how insensitive can you get? Really sad.
The truth is, men's mental struggles often go unrecognized. And most times, we live in a society where people always tell the men to man up. And I can state here categorically that going further, personally, I've made it a choice of mine to be a men's mental health advocate. I've decided to do that myself. So once in a while, I would be putting up posts to encourage men. Listen, it's tough out there, especially in this administration. Being a parent, being a father, enough respect to the women, but being a father now takes more than the usual 100% that you would give in, because the cost of living, food prices, even goals, personal goals, targets, and so on, it seems like sometimes you are useless.
Sometimes you almost forget that you have your own life to lead.
Absolutely.
So, because you're a provider, you're thinking, oh, how do I provide for this and that? So we have to be deliberate about our mental health, and sometimes just pausing and taking everything in, and also milestones, so that it's not all doom and gloom. If you look back, sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. Let's celebrate those little achievements, those little goals that we've met. Every Nigerian man out there is a Superman going through the current economic struggles. You're a Superman.
I agree. I mean, our hearts go out to the family of the young man there, 25-year-old, who actually went ahead to commit death by suicide. And by the way, let's also inform you that sometimes you might want to use the right words to describe this incident, because when you say he killed himself, you see people saying he killed himself. That's not the right way to say it, because when you say he killed himself, it means he committed a crime and so on. Sometimes these terms need to be interchanged appropriately. But then again, our hearts do go out to the family. It is really sad. We do understand that a lot of people are going through precarious times. Things are tough. Bag of rice is not the same price. Have you tried getting a car for yourself? I mean, years ago it was easier, now it's tougher. Let's even not talk about cars. Let's talk about house rent.
I mean, basic Maslow's hierarchy of needs: food, clothing, shelter.
Basic things. Very tough. But then again, our condolences to the families, and we'd like all those on social media, the netizens, to understand that when someone talks about committing a death by suicide, it's not a time to joke. Rally around that person, see how you can encourage him, send him DMs, and if possible, send them to the right place where they can get help.
Now, still on our wake-up conversations, talking about tough times. Ondo State, students have decided that, look, well, we can't take this anymore. Ondo has been in the news for negative reasons recently. There's been a spate of kidnapping incidents and headsmen attacks and killings there. So the students said enough is enough and went to the streets to protest over rising insecurity in the state. I think we have a video of that protest. Can we roll it?
Absolutely. Well, while the video also comes up, don't forget that it is the National Association of Nigerian Students chapter in Ondo State. They did come out yesterday on Mars Day and showed that they tried their best to obstruct movement on the roads. They were protesting. They said enough is enough. That was what the protest was all about. And enough is enough simply came as a result of, one, the students and, of course, the residents said that they are tired of having their colleagues being kidnapped. And secondly, they said they're equally tired of not having the authorities do anything at all, but they're just keeping quiet. And thirdly, they're also tired because their parents, their families are in dire straits, they're in pain, because most times when these ones are kidnapped, they ask for ransom. And when the ransom is even paid, they still end up killing the victim. So it's annoying. They said it's enough. We are done. We are tired. But Benga, the video we see as well, I'm sure you wanted to talk about the video. Sadly, rather than come out and talk to them, assuade, find a way to, manage the event, rather the governor, the governor just decided to say, you know what, sent out the military, and they were there trying to disperse them with tear gas and so on.
I mean, that's not the best way. They had genuine grievances. They've seen their family members, uncles, all of these people. They've seen the rising spate of insecurity in the state, and they didn't just go out to have a jamboree. They're expressing themselves, because what happens is the government issues press statements. They say they're meeting with security stakeholders, they're on top of the situation, and before you know it, another security lapse has happened. And the students said, look, enough is enough. Please do something about the state of insecurity in the state before they do something about it. And recently on Breakfast Central, we did speak to Mr. Showore, an SSA, to the governor of Ondo State, Mr. Lucky Adetewa. He was here on Breakfast Central, and he told us that, they had series of stakeholders meetings, and they're looking into the insecurity issues.
There's a question I want to ask, and I think we'd like our viewers to also feel free to comment on these incidences. And that question simply is this. Looking at what is ongoing, or what's going on right now in Ondo State, where parents have equally joined their children, their youths, everyone. Don't forget that wives and mothers also had protested initially, where they were also protesting about, the entire, aside from cost of living, the insecurity, and so on. Isn't it enough for a state of emergency to be declared in Ondo State?
Exactly, that's another reason.
These are the things we need to really look at. There's no political tussle. This is a problem that the indigents are faced with, that it seems like it's a bad omen, it's not going away. If you have a friend who lives in Ondo State, I mean, I was opportune to speak to someone who said he visits Ondo every now and then, and he said, Ondo, I've been to Ondo before. I mean, I was opportune to go to Ondo, and Benga, I must tell you this, the moment I spent about 2 or 3 days in Ondo State, and I fell in love. I fell in love with that Sun City, and I told myself if I had my way, I would love to live in Ondo State. But the problem was that because it's a civil service, state and so on.
It's not really commercially and economically viable.
I love the peace and quiet. Everybody was very beautiful people, nice people, welcoming. I mean, Nigerians, aren't we beautiful people? We are. But guess what? This is the same place that was peaceful. Look at what's going on. So maybe this is a call to Mr. President. President Bola Tinubu, do you think that maybe you should also look into this and call for a state of emergency and look into it and say, you know what, this has been going on for too long. We know what happened when the likes of Boko Haram started, and then again it was, it would stop, and we're seeing what it is indeed morphed into. So I'm just beckoning on the president to look into this very carefully. If students are crying, I just don't know what to say, because if it were you, I'm sure you would feel the pinch, and you would possibly come out to also cry with them and say enough is enough. The experiences are sad. There's a story of, I did hear also, they kidnapped someone there, they requested for ransom was paid, eventually they saw the person's corpse. It's sad, it's
very
sad.
And it's almost become a recurring theme. We need this to end. Like you said, what is good for the goose might be good for the gander.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if Rivers could have a state of emergency because of a political tussle, which could end up affecting Nigeria's biggest source of economic revenue generating platform or system, which happens to be, of course, the oil and gas. And you quickly, put parameters in place with the sole administrator, by the way, we're going to talk about him in the course of the show. How much more of the one that is endangering lives and taking the lives of citizens? In Nigeria, what is the value of a Nigerian? How much do we think our lives are worth? Can you place money on it? Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's move away from that sad story, Benga. Let's go to one that possibly will cheer us up a little. I saw a video of a young man who was dressed in the NYSC, regalia, complete one. He removed his face cap, used the towel to clean his face, and he puffed a sigh of relief like, and guess what was in front of him, Benga?
Different bowls filled with land and sea
turkey,
animals.
roundabout, broccoli.
I mean, had to even remove some of them to make space to get to the sea. I was hungry when I saw that. I had to shut it down.
TGIF, you know what I think?
He has spent, a quarter of his allowance on that meal. That meal is very expensive.
That video was a young man. He was simply just expressing that sigh of relief, we finally got it. Yes, federal government has started paying 77,000 naira allowance to core members. And I do hear people like, is it Benga? Can I hear your voice or others? Or Olive is, shouting, I think I want to be a core member again. I don't know.
I'd love to serve my country. I might just go back and serve a second time.
Oh, yeah. But kudos to the federal government. Sadly, while we say kudos with, one mouth, we could also turn our other mouth and say it took too long.
It took too long, and then
too long.
I mean, this 77,000, the real value of it, and it's led to a lot of debate on social media. That the last time the core members 5 years ago, when they initiated that, was it 33,000 or 35,000? You could buy a bag of rice. There's 77,000 now. If you look at the real value of that, the purchasing parity, it really can't do much. The figure might be higher, but the value of it. Of what he can buy is lower, so it should be higher than that. But like they say, half bread is better than none. Half bread is better than granite, like the streets will say. Anyway, the streets keep urging us to do more. Yes. So hopefully, 77,000 naira cannot buy a bag of rice now. How sad that is. But the situation still continues, and we hope that our core members. What about the arrears? There were talks about payment of arrears, because when this policy went up, it wasn't initiated immediately. So will they pay the balance of their arrears? That's another question.
Anyway, to all the core members who we know, including Benny, who happens to be part of our team, and the rest who happen to be with us here, don't forget to say hello to us at the end of this show. We just want to see you, greet you, and of course understand how you feel. If you understand, just to say hi, don't mind us.
Happy weekend.
That's the Nigerian lingua franca for you know what.
Yeah.
Happy weekend, sir. Anyway, let's bring to you our top stories for today here on News Central's Breakfast Central on a Friday. Today on the show, Rivers sole administrator suspends political office appointees. A lot of questions around this. Does he have the power to do so? We'll find out. INEC makes U-turn, notifies Natasha of recall petition. This is a conversation we want to have in the course of Breakfast Central. And residents laud Ado Bayero for cancelling controversial carnival. We're about to have two of them, but I think he's been able to, sort that. President Tinubu hosts Ghanaian president in Abuja. Great conversation. Plus, we'll take a look at many more things, including the front pages of the newspapers that are buzzing with that previous headline and so much more. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Up next is Breakfast Headlines.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aporowa. We begin the news at the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has withdrawn the second reading of a bill seeking to strip the immunity conferred on the President, Vice President, governors and their deputies. The bill aims to curb corruption and enhance accountability. Also rescinded was a bill seeking to review penalties for certain capital offences in alignment with relevant international best practices. The Deputy Speaker, who presided over the plenary, stated that the decision was made to allow lawmakers and other stakeholders to provide further input. In the meantime, 31 additional constitutional amendment bills have passed their second reading in the House of Representatives, addressing key issues such as inclusive governance, judicial and electoral reforms, state and local government creation, and the devolution of power. This development brings the total number of amended bills that have passed the second reading to 112. Among the newly advanced bills is one proposing the establishment of the office of the Prime Minister as the head of government, while the President remains head of state. Other bills include proposals for the creation of additional local government areas in Abia, Enugu, Delta, Imo, and Zamfara states, as well as a bill seeking to review the status of the Federal Capital Territory regarding presidential elections. Now, back to the Senate. There's a debate over the immortalization of the late Professor Humphrey Nwosu, and this has sparked controversy in the Senate. A motion proposing to honor the late former chairman of the National Electoral Commission led to heated exchanges in the Senate on Thursday before being rejected. Some lawmakers had advocated the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters to be renamed in his honor, citing his commitment to electoral transparency. However, the proposal was put to a voice and rejected.
They say to whom much is given, much is expected. A professor of political science heading INEC could not deliver result. That is how you can assess him. It doesn't matter whether the circumstances were positive or not. If it were not positive for him to do so, he would have resigned. He didn't resign.
Now to judicial matters. The Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has adjourned hearing of all pending applications in an alleged 32 billion naira charge filed by the Attorney General of the Federation against Fidelity Bank PLC and three others. Justice Ambrose Lewis Alagua adjourned the case on Thursday to enable the federal government file and serve on the defendants an application seeking an order of the court to compel their attendance for arraignment and trial. The federal government had filed an 8-count charge of alleged conspiracy, conversion, obtaining by false pretenses, forgery, fraud, and money laundering against the defendants. The defendant, Fidelity Bank, its managing director and CEO, Neka Onyali-Ikpe, a lawyer, Victor Ukut, and one Woba Uguno Ogo, who is said to be currently at large. Only Mr. Ogo was present in court on Thursday. During Thursday's proceedings, the Attorney General's office was represented by Prosecutor Charles Emezina, while a senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, represented the first and fourth defendants, Ukut and Ogo. Fidelity Bank and its CEO were represented by another senior advocate of Nigeria, Ayodele Akintunde, while Moise Banere, a senior advocate of Nigeria, represented the nominal complainant, Wolves Resources Limited. The matter was initially fixed for hearing of the defendant's application for the court to dismiss the charge on grounds of lack of jurisdiction and abuse of process. When approached by journalists, counsel to various parties declined to speak to the press.
Thanks for staying with us here on Breakfast Central. It's raining suspensions in Nigeria, but River State is definitely topping the charts. River State Sole Administrator Vice Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas, retired, has suspended all political office holders in the state, including the Secretary to the State Government, Chief of Staff, not forgetting commissioners and heads of boards, agencies, and also parastatals. In a statement issued on Wednesday, affected officials were instructed to hand over to the highest-ranking civil servants in their respective ministries and agencies. The suspension takes effect immediately from March 26, 2025. Now, this follows an earlier directive mandating all 23 local government councils to submit reports detailing their operations, staffing, and revenue sources. Political analysts interpret the move as part of a broader federal strategy to consolidate control over River State's political and financial systems.
The Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, has warned that the dismissal of political appointees by the sole administrator of River State, Vice Admiral Ibok-Ete Ibas, retired, poses a significant threat to democracy. As you may know, the crisis in River State's political sphere escalated recently when President Bola Tinubu declared a state of emergency, stripping Fubara of executive powers, and he appointed Ibas as sole administrator. Though, according to the president, the sole administrator is not expected to make drastic changes. Or maybe this is not a major change. Let's find out from our guest, who is the chairman of the Concerned Rivers State Elders Forum, Precious Elekema. A warm welcome to you, sir, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, what do you make of this timing of this suspension by this sole administrator? A lot of people didn't see this coming. Did you see this coming, and what do you make of it?
Well, we are vibrating from one illegality to another illegality. First of all, if you ask me, is there a state of emergency in River State? I'll tell you there is no state of emergency in River State. Because, you know, the Constitution was made in such a way that you cannot twist it. You can't usurp it. You can't manage it. So if the National Assembly had a problem where the House of Reps could not garner 240 people, 240 people to be in the chambers that day. And so once they don't have that number, they cannot, there is no power on earth that authorizes them to go by a voice vote. The Constitution, the book is so small, but that is what has made them what they are. So you can't twist it. The same thing to the Senate. They could not garner 73 people into that chambers. So when they say by voice vote, since the Constitution did not give them the leverage to say you can twist, you can change, that means that state of emergency failed. So there is no state of emergency.
Okay, so let's get it clear. So in your terms, you're saying that the sole administrator shouldn't have powers like he does currently if it truly was a state of emergency. We've seen him. Go ahead. Go on.
It needed. Listen, you know what is wrong with that? Most of the people who say they're politicians don't even understand how those laws came about. If you see, the House of Reps represents the 1,000 people that were created by Moses, and the 70 people, which is the Senate, were created to agree. But now the Constitution says 240 for the House of Reps. It stays 73. So if they are short by 172, it has failed. When they wanted to impeach Trump the first time, they were short by 1. Andrew Jackson by 1 vote. So it failed. So if there's a state of emergency and the House of Reps could not have 240 people, the Senate could not have 73. It has failed. So there is no part of it that says you can use voice vote. This is a major issue. The Constitution cannot be twisted. Cannot be twisted. Can never be twisted. It is going according to the way it is written. It cannot be interpreted to say, if we don't have the number of people complete, we can use voice vote. So from one illegality, they have moved on to another illegality. So 2 people quarrel, you create state of emergency. You create state of emergency. So now you have created state of emergency. The man is there illegally, because since the House of Reps and the Senate could not have the votes, it has failed. No remedy. But now, because they believe that Nigerians are foolish, they are stupid, they are there. And the man has gone to say, I've removed this, I've removed that, I've removed this. So he has removed all. He knows them. He has met them before. He knows that they are not good. But from the point that he got to the state, he said the state appears quiet. So that's the first signal to the president that there is no problem in Rivers State. Okay, the next thing he said, I went to the House of Assembly. I saw them, I saw that they have paid the contractor up to date, and the contractor is doing his work. That means that the information that was passed to Mr. President that Governor Fobara is not doing anything to build the assembly back is not correct. It's not correct. So what I'm saying is that we are in a very terrible situation. Today, it is Rivers, and I thank God that so many eminent Nigerians have called Mr. President that have a detour. If a mistake has been made, it is cheaper, it is easier to look at it. There is no shame in it. Within a short period, weeks, whatever, recall, have some semblance of unity. And I tell you what, I am from Rivers, and I'm an infantry politician. I'm an infantry politician. If you today put up a meeting between the House of Assembly members and Governor Fobara, and I will so much that meeting for those of us who were part of creating the 2015 government, those of us who were part of creating the 2015 government that brought in Wike, along with those who were the Amechi government people, or the government people, all of us sit together in the room, let the other national people sit down, let us listen to what they will say. Because I can tell you that there is no trouble. I will tell you, there is no trouble. The trouble is nothing but this is what I want to happen. This is how it should happen. So as far as I'm concerned, that meeting they want to say, go and settle this issue, should be settled with all of us inside the room. Let somebody tell us that I created this. I created this. I spent my money on all this. And today, the people are not respecting me. I want us to sit together in full camera. Full camera. Let the whole world watch all of us. Sit it down. So when we sit down, we watch one person say one thing or the other to tell us how this whole thing come about and who is not keeping to what. So I can tell you that we have a drama that is overfloated and that nothing is wrong.
Now, Elder Elekima, quite a number of things have happened since the declaration of a state of emergency and the appointment of a sole administrator. Like you said is illegal. A number of Nigerians and civil society organizations have also said, you know, it was a voice vote. They didn't have the number required to declare a state of emergency. So they're challenging it in court. But the present reality is that the sole administrator has resumed and as part of fulfilling his duties, constitutionally or not, is making decisions which border on the lives and economic well-being of the people of your dear River State. Now that he has suspended political appointees of the government, what's going to happen to the policy direction? How would it affect? What are the implications for service delivery for the people of River State?
Let me say something. We're in a dangerous trend where the judiciary, the legislative arm, and the executive appears to be controlled by the executive. Because what's going to happen is that investors and the rest will now have fear, genuine fear, that if I come to Nigeria to invest my money, and if it happens that I have to seek redress, I do not know where to go to. The principles of separation of powers, it is to correct one head and the other. It is three heads under one neck. And so if the executive arm is going outside their allowed powers, the other arm will correct them. Now, it is now open to the courts, and the judiciary should be able to redeem themselves, because gradually people are losing hope. People are believing that judiciary is almost not existing. But we have nothing to do that continue to use them. It is dangerous for them to keep telling people that, oh, we cannot be trusted. Then we are all running into a big problem. Let the judiciary make pronouncements. If you watch the foreign countries, President Trump made statements ending bad citizenship and all that, and the courts say, you can't do this, you can't do this, this is what the law says, this is what the Constitution says. They keep saying this. They are not saying this because they are weak. It gives the Americans the confidence that, okay, we have law and order. When we create lawlessness, the judiciary plays a big role. I heard what President Jonathan said. He said, if somebody is pretending to sleep, it is difficult to wake him up. But if somebody is actually sleeping, you can wake him up. The judiciary should understand that right now, the survival of Nigeria is in their hands, because a lot of illegalities, lawlessness is taking place. It is for the judiciary to be able to tell Nigerians that we are here. The Constitution has created three arms of government. It is not for them to be together. It is for them to check themselves, to be able to correct one another. That is why they are there. The legislative arm makes the law. The executive arm, which is described as executors, they execute the law. And when there are issues, the judiciary interprets the law. So right now, Nigeria is a situation whereby the judiciary is watching that the Constitution says 240. The Senate president said, we don't have enough in his mind, though, but these Nigerians are so docile. We're going to tell them his voice vote. The Speaker of the House of Reps, the same thing. It is all null and void. That small book Constitution, you cannot twist it. It's made for life. It can never be twisted. So the judiciary has a big role to play. In Rivers, right now, the man had gone there. Instead of knowing that this is a place where they say there is trouble, I've gone there, there's no trouble. Rather now, you remove the SSG, you appoint another SSG. How do you know the SSG you're appointing? How do you know the SSG you're appointing? The one you are removing, how do you know him? Who asked you to remove him? Who asked you to appoint another one? You have removed all the commissioners. You have removed everybody. You sacked everybody. So are you now part of the problem? So have you joined one side of the problem? That's the question.
Well, I'd like us to look at this. I mean, civil society groups, for instance, the CCG, they've come out to say that what's actually going on now in River State, kind of like a reminiscent of what happened during the military era, where edicts and, of course, not forgetting to decrees were indeed replaced by some form of military processes instead of being democratic as we speak. But do you think that what's going on now, currently as we speak, as the chairman of the concerned River State Elders Forum, do you think this would in any way exacerbate fears and also could lead to violence in the near future should this method of governing continue? Do you think it could lead to something tragic in River State?
Let me tell you something, and I want to say it for all people to listen. The last thing anybody from River State should ever think to do is violence, because you will fall into the trap where the state of emergency can stay for the next 2 years. What is happening is an inducement to invite violence. The reason to keep state of emergency is violence. So when you say we want to use violence to stop what is going on, then you're cooking for them beautiful jollof rice, beautiful soup, beautiful stew to eat. So the best thing to do is go to court and blackmail the courts so that the judiciary will speak. Judiciary knows that they are there, their children are there, their children are there. So when they continue to give the wrong judgments, at the end of the day, all of us will be in it. If you are a judge, does not mean that all the children are going to be judges. So right now, the judiciary has a reason to save this country. They need to save Nigeria. Okay.
But now that the sole administrator has suspended commissioners and government appointees, how is the state supposed to operate? How do you implement government policies and service delivery?
He doesn't have that powers.
But he's done it.
We have a governor of a state. There is no budget that is approved. So how can he spend money? There is no budget.
But he was given a budget. So, the president had released, we're told, had released budgets to him.
The CBN has released the state funds.
You see, the country does not belong to president, with all due respect. These are things of law and order. We cannot be lawless. If you say there is no budget, and for that reason, you have suspended Fubara. So where budget are you operating with? So there is no budget. So the sole administrator cannot spend 1 penny. Where will he bring the money to spend? How is he going to spend the money? It is not there.
All right, Mr. Lokama, please, can you just hold your thoughts? We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'd like to continue this conversation, especially looking at the aspect of what the elders in River State are planning to do. So please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Breakfast Central on a Friday. We do have the concerned River State Elders Forum Chairman, Mr. Precious Elikama. We're taking a look at the recent story coming out from River State, especially one that has seen the sole administrator ensure that there is a complete removal of appointees in River State. And we're talking about appointees of even the suspended Governor Siminalai Fubara. Back to you, sir. Let's ask this very important question. Take, for instance, there's also a complete removal, we could say dissolution of the Rivers State University Governing Council, and then also the removal of RISIC, which has to do with the dissolution of RISIC as well. That is the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. What does this mean? And can you connect the dots for us? What are the Elders Forum saying? Because you're the chairman. What are they saying when you have your meetings? If you don't mind bringing it to the fore so that the public can get to understand what really is going on, or what the Elders Forum believe is actually going on in River State now.
I'll tell you one thing. I have a lot of sympathy for the administrator, in quotes, because he's just been railroaded to what he didn't bargain for. Instead of having a quiet retirement, they brought him to expose him in this situation. But this is where we are. I've said that any violence, anything that has to do with any violence, should be the last. It will not even come, and it should never come, because that is what they are looking for. Go there, provoke them, do this, dissolve this, do this. By the time they agitate, okay, River State is on fire. So the administrator for another 2 years. So my own position and the position of the elders is that we will not do that. We will take them to one court to the other court. There are plethora of cases here and there. We will continue. We will also dialogue with Mr. President. We will take while we are going legal, we also have to seek audience, speak with Mr. President to understand that this thing does not end in Rivers. By the time you create a precedence, you will end up declaring the 36 states of emergency. There are parts of Nigeria that there are insurgents occupying 4, 5 local governments. And there's no state of emergency. So a lot of things are going wrong. But like I said,
Okay.
we will come out with our position, but the position we will have, we will never come out with a position that says people go and demonstrate. We will not do that.
Okay. You eschew violence. Yes.
We will never go into that, because as soon as you do that, that state of emergency will be there for the next 2 years. But we go by suasion. We will go legal, and while we go legal, we know that it is a political decision. We know that it's a decision that has to massage somebody's ego. So we will be able to. President is quite a reasonable person. So I'm sure that himself, with all whatever everybody has said by now, he's beginning to have a rethink, because he's a human being. He had known by now that nothing was wrong in River State. He knows. You can't remove the assembly, you can't remove the governor and remove the deputy governor. You can't do that.
No, Mr. Lekima.
You know, they think that the Constitution is a newspaper. They don't understand the meaning of the Constitution. They think it's a newspaper. So as far as we know is that the law must be preserved. The Constitution must be preserved. Because if we don't preserve the Constitution, it's going to have problem for all the states. So there is Rivers. Now you have said Rivers people are currently in state of emergency. Now there are kidnappers ravaging Ondo, so we are waiting for you to declare state of emergency. The next thing, something's happening in Benue, you must declare state of emergency. Something goes on in Lagos, you must declare state of emergency. You cannot only declare state of emergency in Rivers, because right now there is no trouble. Look at it. The assembly people wrote, come and present budget in 48 hours. The governor wrote, can we meet before presentation of the budget? They didn't go. The governor went. The doors were locked. He left. He wrote a letter. We're going to come on Wednesday. No trouble. My friend, the minister, was in Rivers. He was in Abalama. There was no trouble. There was no trouble. Look, the next thing was that they have declared state of emergency. And I'll tell you the danger about something. I'll tell you something. President Jonathan is a Rivers State man.
Now, finally, yeah.
Every Bayelsa person is a Rivers man. Every Rivers man is a Bayelsa man. Okay, his wife is a complete Rivers woman. Now, the Joe elders had sought audience with Mr. President. They have only spoken. They have only spoken. So, okay, I give you to go and resolve the issue. If for any reason a contrary information went to Mr. President, being that Jonathan is from that place, and these people, you have former governors here. DHSP, governor 1969 or 68, you have other former governors there. At least Mr. President could have just called a meeting. Call Jonathan, let's pray the call. Look, my brother, what's happening in this area? I just met with this. Let's have a short meeting. The people will have a sense of belonging and respect, because the office is transient. When tomorrow Mr. President leaves, will he be happy if somebody declares state of emergency in Lagos without taking him into confidence? Because the outburst of Jonathan shows that he was not aware. He was not aware. Because okay, we will keep the peace. So I think that Mr. President, he has acted, he's a human being, he will make mistakes. That's why this constitution was written and separated the powers, so that one man does not have all the powers, because man is not an angel. If one man has all the powers, he will create trouble. This is what it is. And people always assume that I'm the president, I'm the House of Reps, I'm the Senate, I'm the judge. It is not going to be good for all of us. Mr. President should have a rethink. This is a problem I've created. It will go viral. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. And let us, no ego, let us all come together and remove this trouble. The minister is my friend. He is my friend. We have eaten together, not once, not twice. We have stayed together. We have had difficult times. We have stayed near disaster. We have stayed near disaster in 2015 and thereabout when he was running. So
right.
Even if he says he's not my friend, he's my friend.
Okay, Mr. Alikama,
So, yeah.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think we've gotten your point, especially representing the elders forum there, what they've said, and looking forward to possibly what would be the outcome in the next few months to come. It's just the first month, and we're about to dovetail or go into the second month. Hopefully, we'll get to see some more.
Let me say something.
Please, very quickly, because we're out of time.
Yes, I don't think the state of emergency, with all due respect, from what I know about Mr. President, from what I know that is happening behind the scene, I don't see it going beyond the month of April. I don't see it going beyond. I know that Mr. President is a Democrat. I know how he has fought for democracy. I know how the roles he has played. And I also know that his body is telling him that I may have erred. And like I said, we are not going to insult him. We will respect him. We will discuss with him. Everybody will come together.
All right.
And that's why the hasty decisions of the sole administrator, I do not think, if Mr. President knows that something is temporary for 1-2 months, you hear that the Minister of Information came out and said that once Mr. President senses that there is a peaceful atmosphere, it will not last extra 1 day. So when they say, the sole administrator said, dissolve this, dissolve it, dissolve it. So
all right, Mr. Likama, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So I can assure you that we will solve this problem before the end of April.
Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, great conversation there. I think we're heading straight to Kano right now, right?
Yes, let's head straight to Kano, where residents of Kano have commended the Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, for cancelling his planned Salah Durbar, which coincide with that of the reinstated Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II. The throned Emir cited a possibility of violent clashes between his supporters and that of his successor, Sanusi II. Speaking to News Central in the Kano state capital, some residents say this has helped to douse the tension in the state, guaranteeing a peaceful Eid al-Fitr celebrations. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
It all started with a planned carnival known as Hawan Salah, Hawan Daushe and Hawan Nasarawa, scheduled to hold as part of activities to commemorate the Salah celebrations. However, following fears of violent altercations, Aminu Ado Bayero shelved the planned carnival after his successor, Mohammed Sanusi II, also set in motion plans to hold the same event in the same day and in the same city. In a broadcast, the Emir expressed regret over the decision but emphasized the need to ensure that the safety of lives and property remains a top priority.
Hawan sallah ba abu ne na ko a mutu ko a rai ba, don haka in har zai zama sanadiyar kawo tashin hankali da hargitsi wanda a sakamakon hakan zai jawo salwantar dukiya da rayukan al'ummarmu, to lalle ya zama wajibi mu haƙura.
This decision was greeted with huge commendation from the majority of Kano State citizens who believe the decision is the right step to take.
Matakin da ya dauka daidai ne saboda ai kasan shi shugaba duk abin da ya hango idan zai iya zama matsala to dole za a dauki mataki a kai, wannan shine shugabancin dama.
Kace za a hawa yan nan su kawo yan nan unguwar su kawo ba zaman lafiya, mun ji daɗi sosai saboda muna so a zauna lafiya.
Yayi daidai, wannan mabuta ce mai kyau gaskiya, mabuta ce sosai sakamakon gaskiya wancan karin da aka yi har ga Allah ko wanda sun mutu gaskiya da dama sakamakon matasa an dinga zara karafuna ana kashe mutane.
Ado Bayero also congratulated Muslim faithful in the state for reaching the end of the holy month of Ramadan.
Muna kira ga jama'a da a yi amfani da waɗannan lokuta wajen ziyartar juna don sada zumunci. Muna taya dukkan al'umma murna da farin cikin gudanar da azumin watan Ramadan da addu'ar Allah ya sa mana cikin bayansa yantattu, ya sa dukkan ibadar da muka gabatar Ubangiji ya karba.
The desire of every resident of Kano is to see a Salah celebration that is peaceful, and the bold step taken by the royal father Aminu Ado Bayero to cancel his planned carnival has given more assurance for a peaceful celebration. In Kano, for News Central, Emmanuel Bagudu.
Great report there by Emmanuel Bagudu. But let's also tell you that President Bola Tinubu has hosted the President of Ghana, John Mahama. President Tinubu, while thanking him for mediation efforts between the countries of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso, all members of the Alliance of Sahel States with ECOWAS, says that the collaboration between the two regional bodies is necessary to tackle insecurity in the Sahel.
To thank him for the honor done me during my inauguration but also to brief him on a visit I made to the Sahelian countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, and to bring him up to date with some of the issues that I discussed with him. As ECOWAS chairman, it's my duty to come and brief him on some of the concerns that were raised there, so that we continue to see how to dialogue with those other countries.
Most definitely.
Well, it's a complicated situation, and it's not as easy as we might think, but we just need to continue to dialogue and see how we can continue to cooperate together.
And I'm indeed very happy of the effort is made to have a bridge between the AES countries and the ECOWAS. It's not a bad idea for us because of the security situation in the Sahel region and what economic opportunity that we must embark to ensure security of life and properties of our citizens.
It's always good to see that brotherly love between Nigeria and Ghana, and sometimes we often forget that there are two francophone countries in between. This is collaborations are not just happening at the level of the presidency, but even ordinary citizens, collaboration, business, entertainment, tourism, and what have you. So let's keep it up. And good brotherly love there from John Mahama visiting the president, telling him, I thank you for you attending my inauguration.
Absolutely.
And also the security situation in the Sahel.
Absolutely. Well, let's hope that we'll see more collaboration that would not just be a collaboration, but would be one that would ease the challenges and problems of either citizens, be it that of Ghana and that of Nigeria, looking at the West African region. But let's go straight and remind you of what we've brought to you so far this first hour here on Breakfast Central. A quick recap of the big stories that we've indeed had a conversation on right away. Well, we talked about Rivers' sole administrator who has suspended political office appointees, and we did have Mr. Precious Elikama join us on that. Residents Lord Adobayero for cancelling controversial carnival. Our man on ground also filed in that report, plus what we just talked about, collaboration to ensure that Ghana and Nigeria have a beneficial and mutual agreement.
And coming up next on Breakfast Central, INEC makes U-turn, notifies Natasha of recall petition. But also bring you the newspaper front pages. Remember, you can call in and share your thoughts with us. And we'll review the top stories of the week here on Breakfast Central. Do stay with us. You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has officially notified Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and the Senate of a recall petition submitted by voters from Kogi Central Senatorial District. INEC confirmed that the petitioners have now provided the required contact details which were initially missing, allowing the process to move forward.
Well, the recall effort follows Akpoti-Uduaghan's 6-month suspension from the Senate over alleged misconduct. Her supporters claim the process is politically motivated, while her constituents argue it is a response to poor representation. The Commission will now verify the signatures to determine if they meet the legal requirement of more than 50% of registered voters in the constituency. Well, joining us to discuss this, Senator Natasha Akpoti's, of course, ongoing recall process is the Special Advisor to Kogi State Governor on State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Sarah Musa. Good morning and thank you so much for being here. Dr. Sarah, can you hear us? Well, of course, while we try to establish connection, she would be speaking on the current happening there, especially in Kogi State and the entire recall process, which has indeed generated a lot of comments and you could say reactions, both out and also inside of Kogi State. We've seen Nigerians react to to the situation differently.
We're really looking forward to this conversation with Dr. Musa as someone who's resident in Kogi State, who has felt the pulse of the constituents, would like to know a position on certain number of things, and also being a fellow woman, just like Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, will be happy to take her views on everything that is happening in Kogi Central with regards to the with the INEC recall process. But let's take a look at what the constituents in Kogi Central are saying. I believe we have some clips to share. Some supporters of this recall process have to say.
Before the courts matter. So since they were aware, even if it was not before, but they were aware before today, and before they sent the invitation to the petitioner that the matter was already in court, that was enough reason for them to just write to the petitioner to say, we cannot take your petition because this matter was already in court. So for calling him to come today also shows to a large extent their bias and their disrespect for the Constitution of Nigeria.
Well, that's the counsel to Natasha, who actually accompanied the former minister to the Senate, where the committee indeed sat to look at the case, which indeed went all right. But then again, the conversation still continues. We'll find out if we do have Dr. Musa joining us. She would be speaking extensively on the current situation, especially on the recall process. But let's not forget that there's been a lot of back and forth concerning this particular issue. And it would be very nice to have, especially the special advisor to the Kogi State Governor, to join us and speak on this. But once we establish connection, once again, we would go straight into it. But let's look at the entire situation. We've looked at the situation from the House of Assembly. Let's come outside and look at it from the aspect of the independent National Electoral Commission, who had gone ahead to say, listen, you've been able to get this over 200,000 signatures, but there is something missing. And what's missing is we do not have their phone numbers, neither do we also have their email addresses, and house addresses. And you would start to wonder who would be able to collate that huge number of persons who represent a constituency, going ahead to ensure that they get Natasha out of the National Assembly and possibly get another person to represent them.
24 hours.
In 24 hours. There's a lot of conversation around it. But then again, we do have Dr. Sandra joining us this morning. Let's see if we can establish connection very quickly. Good morning, and can you hear us?
Good morning, sir.
Great, great. It's good to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're looking at this entire situation, and as a special advisor, we do know that you have your hands, especially on the case, by simply meaning that you've been following it very closely and you are aware of what the constituents are indeed saying. So let me ask first, are you in support of the recall? And can you share with us where you stand, first of all?
Good morning, sirs.
Thank
you for having me. Thank you for the question as well. Yes, concerning the recall, it's a thing that all hands are on deck to ensure that it's a success and it's pulled through. As it stands today, once you occupy an office, it is billed that you go by the rules and regulations governing the office, and then you should always be aware and be conscious that you are holding the mandate of the people. And in every action you take, you should consider your people first, because without their votes in the first place, you won't be where you are today.
So at what point do you think she's not considering the well-being of our constituents? How did she err? And what reasons, what specific reasons do you have for supporting this recall process, Dr. Musa?
Thank you. I'm very sure that all that transpired at the National Assembly was on air for everyone to see. And we all know it began from the issue of change my seats, don't change my seats, and all of that. And then before you know what's going on, there was a slump for 6 months and suspension. And for us, that's a whole lot. Having not to be in the Senate for 6 months is tentative 1 year. And for us not to be represented for 1 year, it means our voice will not be heard. It means we'll be shut out of dividends of democracy. It means that our people will not get their benefit. And that's why you're there, to ensure that you speak for your people and then you stand for them.
But there's also a counter claim to that statement. The sitting senator, who has been just suspended, Senator Natasha, had said that she was pushing to ensure that the state, Kogi State, and the constituents benefit from everything that she was putting right before the House. But it seems like she was never, ever going to get it done because in a statement, the Senate President was not giving her any room to ensure that all her suggestions, everything she brought forth was indeed accepted by the House and so on. Don't you think it would have been the other way around if Kogi State had pushed for the Senate President to at least listen to her rather than the other way? What's your thought on that?
Okay, thank you very much. In the first place, her sister was voted into office. It means that her constituents stood for her. When this whole issue began, before it got to where it was today, she never held a town hall meeting to sensitize us and get us informed that this is what I'm facing at the National Assembly. And as we speak up till now, she had not come to visit, nor to say anything to the people. So how do we know what's happening to her, the Senate? How do we come in to speak to the Senate President on her behalf when we don't know anything that's happening, not for what we watch on air? And the next thing we'll hear is 6-month slam. And that's a whole and a big deal for us. And so we're concerned about the vacuum that's been made available at the Senate. And that's what we're saying, that we need that position filled. And she was asked to offer an apology, which she has said she won't do.
And who do you think deserves this apology? Apology to who specifically? And for what?
I think to her colleagues. If you watch that video very well, you would see that when the whole altercation began, a whole lot of persons tried to talk to her, some former governors, even elderly people in the House tried to tell her, calm down and all of that. If you watch the video, there are lots of justification there that you could see happen. And she didn't listen to anyone. So if you go by that, and we've all heard it's been everywhere that she should offer an apology. It's on the news. It's not a hidden thing. And that hasn't come up.
I mean, Dr. Musa, as a fellow woman and
yes,
a Nigerian, someone from Dr. Natasha Akpoti-Agbagan's constituency, she made serious allegations of sexual harassment. This is a very serious allegation, highly emotional moments. Don't you think the constituency and people should rally against her? She's gone through, a person has been demeaned, and as a result, she's been deprived the right to speak on behalf of your constituents. Don't you think they should be supporting her rather than instituting a recall process?
Thank you very much. Talking about sexual harassment, for me as a woman and for every woman, that's a very serious issue. It's very painful. It's something that shouldn't be taken lightly. But as you always know, that he who makes an allegation must come with proof. Once she has the proof that is needed, we would stand by her. It's not something we're going to take lightly. But I want you to know that it's also a personal thing. And so we cannot dive into that, even knowing that that issue is already before the court. It's not something we should be discussing or diving into. But I can assure you that as Kogi women, as women from Nigeria as a whole, nobody would take that lightly. And we would definitely stand for her if that be the case. But at the moment, what we are concerned as a constituent is the fact that our seat in the Senate is going to be vacant for tentative 1 year. And we need that position filled up, because we want to get that dividends of democracy. Once you're elected into office, all that is demanded of you is good governance. A whole lot happens, but in all of that, you should have some things in consideration while taking decisions and while reacting.
All right. Let's also, for clarity's sake, which of the group is actually pushing forward to get Senator Natasha out of the assembly? Which of the group? I just wanted to get this clear. Is it the Kogi Central Political Frontier, or is it a different kind of body in Kogi State, or is it from the government house? Which of these groups?
Okay, one thing I want you to know, there is a constituency matter. It doesn't have to do with any group or whatever group they are saying or thinking. It's a constituency matter. And of course, you know, the whole constituency cannot come to INEC to submit. And so if any group is mentioned, it is just like they are the ones taking the issue for us. But it's a decision of the constituency. A group alone cannot be having up to 250,000 persons or above. So it's a constituency matter. And that's what I want all Nigerians to know.
All right, just a follow-up question to that, there were also conversations around people being cajoled to sign and also to put pen to paper for the recall process. Some had mentioned that it was a case of not knowing that that's exactly what they were called for. They were called for empowerment programs, only for them to get there and see that it was a recall process that was being initiated, and they were also told to come with their voter's card and so on. This story has circulated everywhere, and as journalists, we've done our research as well. We've seen that it has at least a particle of truth in it.
We have a correspondent in Kogi State as we speak.
A particle of truth in it. And
he spoke to some of those respondents.
Absolutely. So what do you say to this?
Thank you very much. It's always funny when it's always a one-sided media that's been reported. There's also a video that went viral when an elderly man said, I used to be Baba Natasha, I am no more Baba Natasha. I'm not saying that on any station. There's also a video that's gone viral of a mother saying, of a grandmother, a very old mother, saying that what she's doing there is not what we sent her for. You see, it's politics, and so there could be a whole lot of narrative, what people want to say and what people would hear. It's a 3 days exercise. And so you mean the first day was empowerment, the second day was empowerment, the third day was empowerment? No, now. No, now. Let's always
just before
be
we let you
realistic
go,
in the things we say.
Dr. Sandra Musa, just before we let you go, let's talk about the numbers and no sentiments here. 106,000 people were registered to vote in the 2023 senatorial elections. How do you justify the claim that 250,000 people now want to remove Senator Natasha Akpoti? 2 days ago, INEC came out and said, you know, some of the filing process was not adequate, that email addresses were missing and residential addresses and phone numbers, that it wasn't proper before they submitted. And in less than 24 hours, they resubmitted those documents. How is it humanly possible to have 250,000 people fill these forms in less than 24 hours and resubmit to INEC?
Thank you very much. If you read that circular that came out of the INEC office, it said representatives of the petitioners. And so it was talking about those that came to submit the document, not everyone back in the village. And for you asking whether those numbers came out to sign or not, I would say that let's leave that to INEC to prove. I'm not an INEC official, neither are you. So the INEC officials will let us know when we get to that stage.
They'll verify the process, rightly so. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning on Breakfast Central. Dr. Sandra Musa, Special Advisor to the Kogi State Governor on State Emergency Management Agency. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fantastic conversation there, Benga. A lot to talk about there. But then again,
I guess the ball is in INEC's court.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Nigerians are watching.
And it's good to actually hear from Kogi State and hear what is being said. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, Breakfast Central will continue. Let's find out what the front pages are saying. So get your fingers itchy and start dialing the number once you find it right there on the screen. Stay with us. We'll be right back. So we can say back-to-back conversations on what's happening here in Nigeria. If you just tuned in, this is Breakfast Central. We're going straight to the front pages of the papers, and joining us this morning is public affairs analyst, Mr. Bibaruna.
And journalist,
yes, of course, and journalist. I mean, by the way, I must say this. Well done, sir. Yes, a seasoned journalist. I like the fact that you spent years covering the Lagos State House of Assembly as well.
I'm a political reporter.
So you've done this, yes. And I want to ask this question, I think, before we go to the papers. Being a political reporter all through the years, how would you give it, what's your scorecard of the political scenery that we have now, currently, since last year up until now? Seeing people, you know, cross-carpeting here and there.
The sort of conversations
the National Assembly,
we're having.
State Assembly, around
with
politics and so
what
on.
we are saying. I'm not comfortable at all. It's not something that you should be proud of. My spirit is not animated with the way and manner our politicians are behaving. You know, we have Democrats. We have democracy, not Democrats. We have people that don't believe in the Constitution. We have people whose loyalty is not with the Constitution, but with human being. You know, people that are not selfless, but selfish. People that are not pragmatic, but opportunistic. And that does not help democracy. No matter how you rate Obasanjo, no matter how you rate Yaradua, or Jonathan, they never desecrated the institutions of democracy, as we are saying now. It should be a concern to all of us. You know, we should allow the institution of democracy to prevail. And that is why people say eternal vigilance is the price we must pay for liberty and freedom. But be vigilant. Because if you are not, before you know what is happening, you have been reloaded. Before you know what is happening, the train has left you at the station. So you have to be open. You have to be proactive in watching these guys for the mess of our system for us. So I'm not to encourage, but I believe that there are mechanisms, you know, mechanisms in the system that can give us some amendment. Yes, they can give us a way forward, a roadmap, you know, on the way forward. And they are aware of it. They are aware. The people are aware. The Nigerians are capable. They have the capacity, you know, to make sure that these guys fall into line.
Like you said, the price is eternal vigilance, and we keep watching.
Absolutely.
I mean, President Trump, like somebody, our guest rightly said, he will say, oh, I've cancelled birthright citizenship, or executive voters. The courts will say, look, you can't do that. You have to fall in line. So we have to hold them accountable.
Absolutely.
Well, let's start off now. Let's go to Daily Independent. That's our very first paper this morning. Senate considers reduction of election cost on Daily Independent. Senate considers reduction of election cost, campaign period. They're looking at that. Wants conduct of presidential, guber, other polls, same day. Same day, that's what they want. They want everything to be done same day as regards compared to what we usually have. Reps move to bar over 60 from running for president, according to the government.
I mean, that's ageism, age discrimination. The nation is built with the youthfulness of its population and also the wisdom of and experience of the old. So. Anyway, not totally.
Northern youths condemn bill to convert Lagos 37 LCDAs to LGAs. June 12, Senate rejects motion seeking to immortalize Humphrey Nwosu. I think I'm going to start with that. Let's start with that story. You saw the anger. You saw what happened in the House. How a few senators stormed out of the building, walked away, and said, "You cannot do this." And currently, as we speak, there is a counter reaction to what was said to what was said by former Edo State Governor Oshomole, who said that the former INEC boss never recognized the late Moshood Abiola. Never announced the results, and he also said he didn't recognize him as one who won the election. But then again, videos have surfaced, and interviews by, of course, Sahara, interview done by Showore himself, where he actually recognized and said so. So what are we going to do in this situation? There seems to be, he said, she said, they said.
And why does it seem to be so divisive?
You see, if you understand the basics, the context is that there was an election on June 12, 1993. I was in Kano, I voted. I voted at a primary school near my house at Adija Road, Yankaba. After voting, me and some guys that were there were watching the trend. Almost all the other guys queue behind Abiola's picture.
Option A4.
We just, after the voting, now the guy, three of us, took a ride, went through town. I'm telling you, I personally went through the town, went to the polling booth of Tofa. Abiola won. Get out the bus. Abiola won the election there. It was a different day entirely. And Nigeria decided to forgo the issue of ethnicity, religion, and voted for one man that they believe can move the country forward, Abiola. And who superintended that election? Of Nwosu. despite all odds, of those who came out to supervise the election, there are many people that were also involved, homology, CDS, head, Professor Homology, who came out and said, I let you announce the result. And next you announce the result that somebody won the election. But you see, based on the circumstances of Renwosu, it would be difficult for him to announce the result like that without obeying the orders of Babangida and Abacha. These people were hell-bent, and David Mark.
David Mark, yeah.
One of the principal characters that Abiola must follow.
Yes.
It's a record. You know, so it cannot, and these are the people that benefited from democracy. But the Senate president twice. You know, these are the people that hijacked the process before Renwosu was able to announce the result. But why I faulted Renwosu was that should have dared them announce the result. Abiola dared them today, my brother. Abiola will live forever in our consciousness. We cannot mention June 12th, but Abiola. He paid the highest price for democracy. Renwosu should have been bold enough. You know, the law is very clear. You can't tell you come into a corner that should not. No. This is the result. The man won the election. You what should know. I mean, he was afraid.
Yeah.
Yes, and rightly too.
Rightly so.
But you cannot benefit from what he did not do. So it's an emotional thing. People from the southwest, right, and from the north say no. This man cannot be beneficiary of what he did not do. But the Igbos too, it's an emotional thing. And South say no. He conducted an election free and fair, and he said in an interview that Abiola won the election. So you need to be immortalized. But personally, my opinion, I don't think it deserves to be immortalized. To be named ANEC office again after him. No. How? He did not announce the election.
Yeah, but we understand the circumstances.
He even says circumstances does not, at times he wants to be a man.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, being a man.
And yes, because he did not do the right thing at that time.
MK Abiola was arrested after a Petedo declaration. He could have been.
Everyone has a place in history. But it does not deserve to be immortalized. That's my opinion. You know, because if he had announced the result, this is the law that guided my operations as ANEC, as Electoral Commission chairman. Okay. And empowers me to do ABC. Now I've done AB, the man C, and I'm empowered by the constitution to do it. Go ahead and do it.
Doing C in a military regime would be suicidal.
I don't think he would have been killed. Even if they have killed him, God forbid, it would have been in history. And by now it would be easy for anybody to argue that it needs to be immortalized. But since he did not announce the result. And he was even quoted as saying in some places that the election was inconclusive. So to me, we should be very careful in looking at.
There's also a school of thought that thinks if the Southeast region is so keen on immortalizing him, why is it that institutions and buildings and things in that geographical region have not been named after him all these years?
Why didn't the government of Enugu State immortalize Afenwosu before now? They can name the other assembly after him.
That before Buhari immortalized MK Abiola, there were already so many things.
So there are arguments, but personally, I do not think the man went the whole hog, you know, in announcing the result.
Anyway.
Yeah, so the don't deserve to be immortalized based on that. On that.
Anyway, let's look at another story very quickly before Gbenga takes the next paper. I'd like you to also speak on the plans to bar over 60 from running for president. Many have called this a plot twist, but we do have a caller. Let's take the call first. Good morning, Lade.
Good morning, Lade from Lagos.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Yes, we can. Just speak up a little bit more, and you can go ahead.
I just wanted to comment on immortalizing the former NEC chairman who did not announce the results of the 1993 election. I would like to agree. Hello, can you hear me? I would like
yes,
to
we can. Go ahead.
With your guest, because if he had done the right thing, then his name should be not just in stone, but in marble. He didn't do the right thing. He announced, I think, about 13 or half of the states out of 26. Because I was also, I voted during that election. That's the first election I ever voted in my life, after 22 years of being on earth. So it is unfortunate that at the end of the day, you now bring it up if you don't immortalize the man who you said won the elections, or you didn't even declare him the election winner, then why should we immortalize him? He did the wrong thing. And I agree with your guest. I totally agree with him.
All right. Thank you so much.
Very much for
He totally agrees with you. But let's look at this. Reps moved to bar over 60 from running for president. That's what I know. You've seen the laws, a lot of them that have been passed. It's getting second reading, but one of them was turned down yesterday. Of course, immunity taken off vice presidents, governors, but left for president. What's your take on all of these laws and the over 60 running for?
Our lawmakers, they run mad again.
You
see, I said yesterday on the program.
That sounds like a book.
Yeah, I was saying yesterday on the program, the TV program, that this immunity thing cannot work. Yes, based on my experience as a reporter, as a political reporter, it cannot work. Because a governor, an executive governor, not like the president, we have to take some decisions in the sake of development and good governance and growth. Those decisions, many people may not like it, you know, but those people will be distracted if you can take them to court. They are not immune from certain challenges, you know, from citizens. So that is why the writers of the Constitution found it expedient and appropriate to put it in the Constitution that these people are immune certain time, either 4 years or 8 years. When they leave office, you cannot go and sue them. But once you are there, you can't sue them because they will be distracted. It's a normal thing. And yesterday, what happened yesterday? They reversed what they said. You know, just like this cannot work. Many of the people that are active now,
60
who are ambitious, are 60 plus. Are you telling me Obi should be able to contest?
So that's where the plot twist.
It cannot work.
That's where the plot twist comes in, because a lot of persons are saying that Nigeria is planning to move to a parliamentary system. That's another one again, where Nigeria would go back to having a prime minister who would be, of course, as powerful as the other prime ministers in the world. And then they're saying that this 60 plus is, in a way, a plot twist. I mean, it's just what experts are saying, that it's a plot twist of not allowing Atiku, Obi, and the likes to run again.
I've not seen any law in any country that gives that kind of age limit to people who want to contest elections. I've not seen it. It is the system that develops to a certain stage that some people will not say, no, I'm not qualified to contest. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's a system. By the time you develop, you define yourself, you know. But Nigeria have not reached that stage yet.
You don't think this bill will see the light of day?
No, you cannot. Because these are recommendations by the National Assembly. It must be approved by 2/3 of state assemblies and assented to
by the president.
You cannot imagine the president excluding himself for contesting. Who is already planning. These are the things these are recommendations. We know that they can do that, but to me, they should be more serious. These are misadventures.
With realistic proposals.
It cannot work.
Okay.
Bring over to you your paper.
Yeah, let's take a look at the front page of the Punch. Okay, I believe we have Elder David on the line. Let's take that before we look at the Punch newspapers. Elder David, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Go ahead and share your contributions with us.
Thank you very much. What draws my attention is PDP governor going to court over the issue of Rivers State. It is very unfortunate. When Obasanjo declared state of emergency, that was in Plateau State. That is in Ekiti State. The other opposition did not go to court because of it. And why is it only PDP state? Since 1999, we have state of emergency, we have impeachment. Obasanjo impeached the governor of Bayelsa State and handcuffed him. The word does not fall. When Jonathan was there, he impeached Yanko from Adamawa, the word does not fall. The governor of Rivers State allowed himself to be used by Atiku and Obasanjo to create problem because somebody from the south west have already won an election, the fourth president, civilian president from the whole western region, the best we can think about this country. Yes, Zig was from the eastern region. Jonathan was from the eastern region. Tafa Balewa is from the northern region, civilian. Then you have Jagari from the northern region. Then you have Yaradua from the northern region. Then you have, may God bless him, and that is the man that just left. Buhari, may God bless him. The people that come to change his game for us to better. It's only Obasanjo that military to this who said that no civilian from the West. But today, we thank God he's alive. To see Tinubu there, Tinubu will remain there to 2031.
All right.
I've done one
All right, Elder David, thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder David. Now, still talking about the front page of the newspaper. 60-year age limit. PDP others knock rep. Say bill on president governors misplaced. We also have experts lament crude shortage. Funds ground 7 refineries. I mean, we're an oil-producing state. What's happening with the shortage of crude oil? 807 meningitis cases, 74 deaths recorded in 22 states, says the NCDC. Rivers Elders Group slam Ibas for sacking Fubara's appointees. I would like to take your reaction on that much later. Daniel Abiodun trade wars over Taswed takeover by federal government. Mahama briefs Tinubu on ECOWAS talks with Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. Parents tackle Ogun School over incisions on children's bodies. Some will say it's tradition, it's meant to protect them. Does the school have a right on what you see on the body of its pupils? I would also like to know your take on that. Local government crisis. Osun APC PDP clash after meeting with AGF and Idel Fitri. NSCDC deploys operatives in prayer grounds and others. And also Tinubu marks 73rd birthday today. 6 spiritual guardians on Nigeria. Happy birthday, Mr. President. We're coming to eat rice later. So let's take this call before we get your reactions, Mr. Haruna.
Hello, Dina.
Hello.
All right, go ahead, please.
All right, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so I just listened to Elder David speak, and I can actually say he's an APC member. But please, let us be careful where we are dragging this country to. You cannot use the same system of 1996 in 2025. This is 21st century. We should be careful what we are doing. We have children in this world. We should be careful what we're teaching our children. The system is collapsing and nobody is saying anything about it. Let me use this as an illustration. Our Oga in the studio, if today God takes you back to Eden, Garden of Eden, and gives you an Eve to stay with, he takes that apple, eats it, and gives it back to you. Will you eat it? Let's not justify somebody's mistake in the past. We are meant to be correcting things our fathers have done, the mistakes they've done. Let us correct it. The state of emergency in Rivers State is against this constitution. It is against the constitution. We should say the truth. We should say the truth. This country is collapsing and nobody is saying anything about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dina. I would appreciate if we just stay on the conversation and not join the issues with our callers. Everyone has a right to their opinion. Now, back to you, Mr. Abib Aruna, on the state of emergency in Rivers State and the sole administrator sacking political appointees. Do you think he should have left them? And by doing so, how is governance and going to take place in the state?
Don't forget that we are in a state of emergency. So, and it's a sole administrator, just like Moses in the Bible. You know,
they appointed one.
People used to say, if Moses were a committee, the children of Israel will still be in Egypt. So God appointed Moses as the sole administrator, and were able to leave Egypt to the promised land. So the legality or otherwise of this emergency rule is not the issue here. The issue is that the man has been appointed by the president.
But pragmatically, is it enough to work with permanent secretaries?
No.
Directors?
I think the man is trying to stabilize the state, make sure the state is on a sound footing for good governance to take place. But in my view, he's a bit overreaching himself. You know, he's a bit overreaching himself. He should not, and I think citizens in that state should challenge what he's doing in court. You know, state of emergency does not mean that you usually should not operate. Does not mean that if you are infringing on people's rights, you know, you should not be cautioned. You know, so people should.
It's not absolute.
It's never absolute. But also, don't forget that the man has the order, defining functions, you know, to restore law and order, peace in Rivers State. And they can only do that by making sure that it does not involve himself in partisanship. So if he's sacking those political appointees, if after 6 months, Fubara comes back, they will also come back with him. So I think it's something, those things are temporary. It's just to enable him to organize himself, stabilize the state, and make sure that it's good governance for the benefit of the state and the citizens.
Those political appointees have family members to feed.
No, it's not.
They should look for other
work. Political appointees.
Okay.
They will find a way around it. You know, there's no way. There's no way.
Like the lawmakers. There's
no way some people will not be affected adversely with what is going on. You have to face it. You know, you are coming with him. Now they call them Abobaje in Yoruba land. If man is falling, eventually you have to fall with him. But eventually, I hope that this issue will be resolved in 6 months, so that the brother can come back and continue his tenure.
Now, experts are lamenting crude oil shortage, and it's grounding some refineries. Even Dangote is importing crude oil. Do we have issues with the sabotage or theft of crude oil? What's really going on with that?
That's a very big topic, my friend. Big topic. First of all, there's no way that will not import crude oil. You cannot feed the refinery with enough crude oil, so you need to import. It's normal. It's normal. You import. But I've always argued that non-state actors in Nigeria are too powerful. Who are the people stealing our oil? Our crude oil? Who are they? Tompolo has been raising alarm. I will listen to Tompolo. Who are the people involved in stealing our oil? Are they spirit? Why is the government incapable? Why has the government failed to deal with them?
Successive governments, not just this government.
So why are the non-state actors so powerful that the government does not have the capacity to rein them in? Those are the things we should ask ourselves. We must look at the root and look at the surface. If there's not enough crude, there's something that's happening. Some people are stealing it. And it's the responsibility of government, the federal government, led by Tinubu, to make sure that our oil is not stolen. It's our patrimony and our commonwealth. It should not be stolen. People that are doing it should be brought to book and prosecuted.
All right, we have just 2 minutes to wrap things up very quickly. I want us to take the Tribune, and the reason why I want us to take that is because of your work all through the years. There's a big story brewing in Lagos. The front page of the Tribune, alleged 2023 election funding. Atiku rubbishes link with Sanwo-Olu. I know you've heard that story. He says, I've never met him. I had no transaction with him. Money transfer allegation aimed at sacking Lagos governor. And there have been calls from negotiants. The calls are, where is Governor Sanwo-Olu? People have not been seeing him. People have not been seeing a lot coming from the governor. So these allegations, and in link with what Atiku has said, what's your take on it?
There has been this story flying around all this while that the governor is not in good terms with the godfather, President Tinubu. And when I scratched the surface, when I asked my sources, I learned that it's not unconnected with the relationship of the governor with some people that are close to the PDP. So people added 2 plus 2 together and arrived at 4. That it's possible that with this kind of relationship that the governor was having with those people, that the governor was siphoning money through that source to the PDP. You know, I'm not sure how far that is true.
Yeah, you know, it's alleged.
Everyone saying, and these are top members of the APC. So that is why presumably
you have this.
The president has not been happy with the governor. There was a rumor that was to be impeached.
Yeah.
Some few weeks ago, was to be impeached. But we impeach him. the lawmakers are with him. So it's difficult for them to...
Are they really with him?
No, you don't look at with him. You don't look at with him for now.
Okay.
Yes, I can tell you that. But, you know, in Lagos, it's abracadabra.
Absolutely.
The more you look, the less
you see. Anyway,
thank you very much, Mr. Abibara.
We look forward to have you very soon, especially with our new announcements that we're making on the show here on Breakfast Central. That announcement will come to you pretty soon. Stay glued to your TV sets. On the weekend, we're going to break that announcement. And, of course, we'd like to have the likes of the seasoned journalists join us when we start off on that note. Well, talking about that note, that's all for Breakfast Central on a Friday. Thanks for watching. I wanted to say I'm Benga Burowa.
Yeah. And I'm Joe Hansen.
Nice one. You got
Please remember to join Breakfast Extra tomorrow and on Sunday as the conversation continues. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.